10 years ago, I was wandering around my high school as a shy, weird kid with no friends. Well, that's kind of an understatement. I did have friends, but they were more just people I knew how to talk to at least. Most of my time was taken up exploring the entirety of YouTube, for no other reason than I just loved watching the little weird world in this box that I have in my hand. But then one day, there's a channel that I followed named Lemino. He posted a video. It is about a little-known game called Undertale. At this time, this was the middle of December of 2015. This was also the same year that Five Nights at Freddy's 4 came out. Let that sink in for all you FNAF fans out there. Haha. Five Nights at Freddy's came out a year before Undertale. Do you feel old yet? I do. Ha ha ha. Anyways, middle of December, watched the video by Lemino, and I was instantly hooked. Why? Because I had already been pretty much enraptured by the cryptic storytelling of Five Nights at Freddy's, so much so that as soon as I found out that Undertale itself also had a very cryptic storytelling element within it, I got gobbled up and spat out, and here I am today. Most of the facts that he covered were just random secrets within Undertale, but the most important thing, and kind of towards the cryptic storytelling part, is the information on Gaster. All he did in that video was just list off the solid known facts about him in-game, but something about Gaster's past and his fate resonated with me. Does this cut NPC have lore? What? Hold on, is this even a character that's in the game, or is he a part of the... Huh? And so the theories came rolling in. Is he actually part of the game? Is he not? Is he a bug? Is he a glitch? Heck if I know. Maybe that's just the whole point of his character. Was he intended? It doesn't seem like that the creator wants to even talk about him. That's oddly specific. Why the heck that if you try to name your character in Undertale Gaster, it crashes the game? This also happens in Deltarune. It just hecking crashes. Huh? This is relevant, definitely. This question will remain unsolved for about 10 years. Anyways, I'm realizing that, the lore for this game seems to go pretty deep, like, way deeper than whenever Five Nights at Freddy's had. I mean, FNAF was kind of good, but oh god, that was so confusing. There was like almost no point to play the games, unless you just wanted to torture yourself with how difficult they really were. They were kind of cool games later on, but they were very frustrating. But this one, Undertale, this seems a bit more digestible, and also pretty secretive. You gotta play through the game several different times in order to find different secrets. Ooh, that's pretty interesting. I'm gonna check it out. The first playthrough that I've ever seen of this game was it was really fun watching all that and just seeing all the wacky characters doing stuff. That being said, I think his videos were a great introduction to the game, but I really liked the Game Grumps playthrough of the game, because it just felt more engaging. Due to there being two hosts with very limited knowledge about the game, learning about the lore of the world at the same rate as everybody else, bouncing off different ideas around in the same time that the story was still being understood, and general knowledge about the game wasn't so easily available. There wasn't a wiki for the game yet, I think so. Theory videos weren't being made as much either. That was later. So it was like prime time to have fun with Undertale, because you're like really trying to figure out what was going on. And there was a lot to find out. There's so much. Oh my gosh. No wonder people started making video series on this game, because, good grief, there's too much to look into. That was a fun era to live through. Anywho, time passes, and eventually I started watching fan creations on various parts of Undertale, and I would be in awe at the reimagined world of this pixelated game. Funny enough, though, even though I got really involved with all of the fan universes and different fan AU theories, canons, or whatever, I never played the game myself. So, some years later, I finally do it one day. And, it felt hollow. And I was trying to figure out why it felt hollow, even though it was a very fun game, undeniably. And then I realized that I had seen so much of this game from so many other people's perspectives that I never got a chance to actually make my thoughts about the game myself. And that's where that hollow feeling kind of came in. It wasn't really their fault. I think it was just me consuming way too much Undertale before I actually started playing Undertale, and now I play it finally, and it's not as great as I thought it would be. But it would have been better had I not gotten that spoiled, because I knew all the twists. Yeah, I got spoiled. Now I kind of see the value of not interacting with the internet whatsoever, just so you can remain spoiler-free going into something. Anyways, nowadays, that's going to be insanely difficult, because so many people are like rabid dogs, and as soon as we get any amount of lore, theories come out the wazoo, out of the internet, out of the boondocks. And before you know it, boom, you get lore. Too much lore, too many theories. Good grief, this community is like insanely fast when it comes to theory making. I do not get it. But yeah, I was kind of sad because of how hollow the game felt. It was still definitely fun, but the mystery of the game was just kind of gone because I already knew what was going to happen. I had exposed myself too much to the community of the game, and then I kind of figured out everything, and I just kind of got spoiled. So, from that day forward, I wanted to try and play games like Undertale as much as possible before exposing myself to the community. Easier said than done, actually, because anytime that I want to go on any site to find out, say like, I want to know the news. I want to learn what my friends are doing. I wonder what's going on over here. I wonder what's going on over here in the world. Wait, shoot, I got spoiled because somebody decided to put a thumbnail of like the final boss of this character in the feed thing. And like, everyone's doing it. Oh, good grief. Titles of posts, thumbnails, music tracks, random comments, and unrelated videos. Spoilers would be everywhere. So, lucky me then, that I stumbled upon a little game called Oneshot. And I only knew that it was good, and that was it. I don't even know how I knew it was good. I just remembered I heard it from somewhere, and it's like, oh wait, is that a good game? Wait, I don't know anything about this game. I could probably check it out. Maybe it might be worth it. I don't know. I'll go check it out. And, well, that game has completely changed my outlook on life, like it really has. I don't think I can really go into much detail on it because it's a very complicated idea. Best way that I can describe it is, Oneshot is the game that had made me sentient. It made me think. It made me feel. It asked difficult questions of me, and I gave it interesting answers. And, well, it basically is what made me today. Heck, my avatar is actually based off of Nico from Oneshot. You can look over there, but it's hecking Nico.
Pancakes. I want pancakes. Give me the pancakes. Excuse me, can I have the pancakes, please? I really want the pancakes. Pancakes!
I did have a Oneshot stream. At some point, I really do need to make that into a video just to kind of summarize it better. I need to do it with a bunch of my streams, really. Summarize the gameplay on that and summarize some thoughts. But there's so many ideas that I have that I basically just streamed my ideas while I was playing through Oneshot again. Go check out the third part if you want to check out, like, what my thoughts on the game were. I think is where I have it. Otherwise, it's kind of a would need to have. So, continuing on, I did try the same thing with a couple other games, most notably Amori and In Stars in Time. Both I felt were way too long of a game to go without any spoilers. Being over like 20 hours each. Actually, no, I think they were more like 60 hours. No, Amori was like 20 hours, but for whatever reason for the In Stars in Time game, it just went on for like 60. Although, at least to be fair, when it comes to the In Stars in Time game, I was having a hard time actually going anywhere with that because I couldn't figure out what I needed to do to continue on. And the whole point of the game is going through many different loops and finding the correct option to get to the next area of the story. And it took me way too long, and I just kind of needed help to finish it up. So that's where I kind of got help from that. Still fun games, though. Both Amori and In Stars in Time. Also, with Amori, the ending got spoiled for me from a single comment that's like, oh, by the way, fact. And I'm like, wait. No, huh? Still good games, though. But, neither of them had really changed me as much as Oneshot did. I'm not sure exactly why, because they were both, like really good and had, like, kind of similar messaging, or at least, like depth of messaging, I guess. Not sure how to word that. Maybe it could have been that I literally didn't know anything about Oneshot, and thus had no prior knowledge, and no one to turn to whenever things went wrong. So I just had to figure it out myself, and I found a really weird way to answer these problems that were presented. Yeah, I'm not going to talk any more about that because that's too complicated, and this is supposed to be a Deltarune video. Let's cut back to October 30th of 2018, where we find Dean in college, more specifically in the library of a college, and more specifically in the basement of the library of the college, just right next to the staircase to the basement. He had just been notified of something very, very interesting. What is now referred to as the Twitter takeover event had just begun, and I remember the day. New cryptic tweets were rolling in. It seemed like Gaster himself has hijacked the official Undertale Twitter to tell us something, and it is something rather important.
Welcome. Have you been looking for me? How wonderful. I have been looking for you as well. I have something I want to show you. Something I think you will find very, very interesting. But it is not complete. Yet. No, it is far from complete. Thus, I have a small favor to ask of you. Return here in 24 hours. At that time, I will ask you a few questions. Then, using your responses, we will approach its realization. Thank you very much for your time. I will be in contact again soon.
An entire day of anticipation passes, and we get our answer to what these questions were.
Thank you for waiting so long. After all, you and I have both been waiting such a very long time. So to be here, finally, on the verge of connection, is quite exciting. I look forward to creating a new future with you. Now, show yourself, Deltarune!
Which is at least inactive right now, or at least at the time, because apparently the download link that it was connected to, that allowed you to get the game for funnies, didn't work. Or actually does work, it's just, it has a tiny problem with it. The uninstalling file to uninstall the game once you installed the game onto your hardware, yeah, if you press the uninstall button in that file specifically, it completely deletes your computer. Hey, ain't that a small problem, eh? Ain't that an issue? Whoopsie doopsie. Whoopsie doopsie. Toby, you did a oopsie. Drat. Due to this, the download link was now disabled until the problem was fixed. Which is gonna take too long! So, I risked it all and downloaded a copy of the demo from a stranger on a Google link. And it was completely clean. No issues there. Didn't get hacked, and Deltarune is now in my hands. Crisis averted. Don't download Deltarune from strangers, kids. Download it from your famous retailer. Your Toby Fox retailer. First things first. I need to delete the uninstallation program from the files because it's like right there. And I deleted it. I don't know if I can get footage to show this, but I deleted it. You can at least delete the program that deletes the program. Ain't that useful? I boot up the game, and Windows Defender says that this is a bad idea. I promptly ignore it. The game then opens up a Terms of Service window, and it says that I will be accepting everything from now on. What? Well, this is kind of concerning, but sure, I'm gonna play Deltarune anyway. I accept. And then, finally, long last, the game begins, and I play through it as quickly as possible, because I have school in the morning. I recall at one point, however, that upon reaching these golden doors, I thought, wow, that was a pretty cool demo. It's like Undertale 2, but not quite. This is so strange. I'm so amazed by this. I can't wait to see... It continues on, huh? The utter shock of the fact that there is an extra 3 hours of demo content was ridiculous. This thing was free. Anywho, I eventually finished the thing at 2 a.m. As a reminder, this was a school night. I had homework that I needed to do. And I did not care whatsoever. Deltarune was way more important than any homework I wanted to do. The chapter is complete. Secrets are found, theories are made, years then pass. The realization that this chapter 1 thing has came out has kind of come and gone. Everyone has some amount of interest, but not enough to really play it anymore because, well, we're waiting for the other chapters to come out. However many there are. Time passes. A newsletter becomes a thing. We can now get emailed updates. That's pretty neat. We don't need to rely on Twitter. X. It's now X now. We still call it Twitter. Time passes, and then there is a fan gamer video here. Oh, what's this? What's here? What's this? It's a live stream, and they're going to be showing off a bunch of stuff about Chapter 1. It's like an entire playthrough with dev commentary. The real Toby Fox playing his own game. Ain't that neat? Or at least, like, all the dads of the fan gamerverse was there. Anywho, at the end of the stream, they just kind of like, oh, but guess what, everybody? Chapter 2 is coming out in 2 days. Anyways, bye! The entire internet exploded. I recall Twitter going down for 2 whole minutes. Or was it 10? I'm not sure. I don't use Twitter. I just heard from some offhand that the entirety of Twitter crashed upon this news. Or was that when Sans got it introduced into Smash? I don't know. The internet getting crashed is kind of a thing that Deltarune does, I guess? It's like a canonical thing the community does. The times when the crashing actually occurs, it does kind of morph together a little bit, but it has happened, I swear it. Time then continues to pass. Eventually, a new Spamton Sweepstakes ARG appears out of nowhere, introducing new lore and a bunch of secrets behind hidden links that you have to do some snooping around to find. And it's all for charity. They raised over 300,000 kromer! Can't believe it. Over 300,000 kromer. Amazing kromer. Kromernomics. Standard Kromernomics. You make your charity an ARG, have it linked to Deltarune, and have it linked to Spamton. Boom! Instant charity. Instant success. Easy peasy. Time passes even more. The exact time at which the Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 will actually come out becomes questionable. In fact, it was actually around the time that we were told that it was going to be Chapter 3, 4, and 5. Until finally, we get the news that it's actually just going to be 3 and 4 because 5 is taking too long. And we're going to be here until the sun explodes. So, we're going to get 3 and 4 soon. Eventually, we have some knowledge of the fact that it's coming out. When? We'll have to wait on that one, sorry. But it could be tomorrow! And thus created the Deltarune Tomorrow meme, where Deltarune could very much release tomorrow, and we wouldn't know it until it was Deltarune today. Of course, things have changed a little bit. Time passes, and April 2nd comes along. Oh my gosh, maybe this is when the Deltarune will be announced. Deltarune today, anybody? Tomorrow? Who knows? Anyways, I did not do a stream for that. I did a stream for the previous March Nintendo Direct at some point, and it was okay. There was no Deltarune news and I was sad. So I didn't feel like I wanted to go check out the April 2nd Nintendo Direct to find out more about the Switch 2. Didn't really care too much about that. How foolish I was that day. Anyways, the news broke out to me after I was watching one of my favorite streamers, Fiznom. I watch this stuff every now and again. He's a really cool dude. Go check him out. Also, Fiznom kind of inspired me to make my avatar thing, so go check out Fiznom, he's cool. So there I was, in bed, listening to Fiznom stream about watching the Nintendo Direct. Ooh, right. Oh, this is kind of lame. Kind of. Oh, there's some stuff that's cool, but it's like lame. Man. This whole thing is ridiculous. What? Huh? What? No. The sudden realization. Within that moment, there was a sudden excitement that filled the entire world. Everyone who knew anything about Deltarune had stopped what they were doing to look at what just happened. Everyone joined the Nintendo stream to check it out. The news that Deltarune's Chapter 3 and 4 will finally be releasing soon, June 4th. June 5th, June 4th. And this knowledge was too much to handle, apparently.
I need to rewatch that over 30 times over after this is over. What the f?
Nicely done.
Nicely done. What the f? Why is the why is it?
Set sail.
Why is the thing frozen?
Ha! Nicely done. Well, I
The
think
video
that's everything.
froze.
Let's
Everyone
see.
coming into the stream because of Deltarune froze the video.
Because mid-broadcast, the Nintendo stream itself froze. Like it crashed almost. It like the audio was still going, but like the visual literally just stopped. And coincidentally, this was a couple minutes after the Deltarune announcement. Correlation or causation? I don't know. This is only a couple minutes. Surely the entire internet wouldn't just like join a stream simultaneously upon an announcement so only happened like 3 minutes ago. Surely.
I am so sorry to everyone in this Nintendo presentation. Your game got overshadowed by Deltarune.
I'd like to think that the community of Deltarune is so strong and so passionate that they can just crash the internet if they felt like it. At least that's what I think. I think that's canon. On an unrelated note, I'm going to be storing up some rations to prepare for the apocalypse that's going to happen on June 4th. Or, actually, I don't know. This isn't going to be a sudden announcement, because technically it's going to be a, oh wow, this is a thing now. We knew this was going to be a thing for 2 months. We have a countdown and everything. We know exactly when it's going to drop. Exactly at this time, which is inaccurate now. Go check out Deltarune.com to see exactly how many days left until it drops. Oh boy, I'm excited. But now, it is time for the real question after I have just talked about like my excitement for the game and such. I feel like there's like a lot more that I could have covered, but honestly, most of the stuff that I've done in terms of like looking at the Undertale Deltarune community is just I play it every now and again, I appreciate it, and then I look at all the fan works and appreciate those. There's so many good ones, too many good ones to find. Holy shoot, have you ever seen the amounts of like fan creations that there are? Entire fan verses? Characters? Not even that, entire games have been made. Look at this game, Undertale Yellow. This is a prequel to Undertale. This was a fan-made game that took 7 years. And it was pretty good. It had entire custom characters, custom areas, custom music, custom everything. This is insane, and it's free. This is ridiculous. But technically, Undertale Yellow was the biggest of these fan works. A bunch of these other ones aren't even done yet and are like a couple rooms, but it's still like, this community is insane. Like, it actually is. This is ridiculous. Right, back on track. What are my plans for whenever Deltarune's 3 and 4th chapter actually come out? Well, I'll be streaming it. So, listen up. If you want to join in on my stream, where I just kind of play and find some secrets and figure out the story in real time, join me on June 4th, 11 a.m. EDT. Approximately. I'll be starting about an hour beforehand so I can make sure that everything's working before it begins. I will then disconnect myself from the internet, consciously. I'll still be there in order to stream, and try my damnedest to not get spoiled. That's the plan. I'm gonna be playing the game as much as possible, but at least my first playthrough is gonna be without any Chapter 1 or 2 save data. Yeah, you know, like all of the work that a ton of other people might be going through in order to make sure they get every single item and interaction ready in order to get ready to go into Chapter 3 and 4 with everything prepared? Yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna start without any information like that. It's not that I don't have the time to have an entire game and then do everything ready for me. I did that months ago. I played through the entirety of Chapter 1 and 2 specifically to set up for a day like this. Because I thought it was gonna the updates was gonna come out like months ago, but here we are. So I technically have save files ready for that. It's just, I have a question. What happens in the game when you don't have any prior save data from previous chapters? As in, you jump yourself right into Chapter 3 without any information from Chapter 1 or 2. Is there something weird that might happen there? Or nothing? In all honesty, the feature itself, that you can go to a different chapter without having to do prior chapters, is most likely just a convenience feature, so you don't have to go and do a bunch of backtracking just so you can get to the latest part of the game. I think that's the main reason why you could do that. But, here's a huge but. Whenever you do so, you start off with all of your characters having very minimum items and practically nothing else. No gold as well. You got no unique items, you got nothing, you got the bare essentials and the default items. But there's one item that's oddly standing out right now, and that's Ralsei's white ribbon. Because Ralsei, for whatever reason, starts the game with the white ribbon in Chapter 2. if you didn't collect it in Chapter 1, or else they wouldn't have this normally. So, does that mean whenever you start Chapter 2 without any Chapter 1 save data, Chris canonically collects the white ribbon and gives it to Rousey? Or Rousey at least gets it for some reason? Huh? It was this realization that I also kind of noticed not many people were really talking about this. And I was like, wait, shoot, this is an avenue for theorization. What's the reason for this white ribbon to be a thing, but like nothing else? Huh? What? This is, huh? What? Huh? There is another item in the game called the pink ribbon, and what you do with the white and pink ribbon is give it to Malleus over here, and he'll combine it into the twin ribbon, which gives you a couple buffs, and it's actually a pretty good item. But here's my question. Do we start Chapter 3 with the pink ribbon? Actually, a better question, do we start with the white ribbon as well? If not, what's the specifics on that? I would like to know. And that's like one of the first things that I would like to find out first, as well as like any other quote-unquote canonical events that could happen. As in, like, what characters in Chapter 2 actually got recruited? Did everybody get recruited as normal? Or were a couple people left out? Are you by default collecting everyone anyways? So in that case, Chris really wants to help everybody. Probably, or recruit everyone, but there's still like very specific characters that you need to go really out of your way to find. Like Hacker Dude over here, or Newbert, where you can only actually get Newbert if you recruited everybody. Anyways, I'm gonna find that out first. Same thing with Chapter 4. I'm thinking on playing Chapter 4 without any Chapter 3 data as well. And we'd go through that and have fun figuring out what's going on there. And then, after I get 3 and 4 done and get that out of the way, I then override those files with the files that I have from Chapter 1 and 2. And then I play through 3 and 4 with as much knowledge as I have going into it, and then try to collect as much as possible. That is at least the plan. It might work, it might not work. Either way, I'm also going to be voicing the whole thing. Or trying to voice. I'm trying to get into voice acting, and I kind of like playing Deltarune and Undertale because there's like a lot of characters that have incredibly quirky personalities that are really fun to try and voice and try to figure out what kind of voice that they have. It's all very, very fun. So I want to play Deltarune and Undertale, or Deltarune, Chapter 3 and 4. And idea is, whenever I have time, find fun scenes that were fun to just kind of mess around in, and make a video of me voice acting them. Now I get to be a part of the voice acting people that try to figure out what voices all these characters are. I think I've trained myself up enough that I can do it. I'm gonna have so much fun with that. Oh, shoot, I almost forgot about something. Okay, well, whenever I'm doing the stream, the entire time I'm doing the stream, I got myself these 2 bingo cards here. One is an extremely simple one with basically bets that I think is gonna happen. Obviously you might have noticed the impossible card. This is a bunch of bets that definitely won't happen. 100%. Never will happen ever. Nope, not a thing. There's some very silly ones, and they're silly for a reason. But it'd be interesting to find out if we get bingo on either of these. That'd be crazy if we got bingo on even the impossible card. Anywho, June 4th, I'll be streaming 11 a.m. EDT. Be there, or play the game for yourself. You've got no other option. Time is running out. The apocalypse starts on June 4th. You're running out of time. Plan it now. Thank you all for watching. I've been Deanspillabean, back on your screen, telling you about my time with Undertale and Deltarune, as well as the plans that I got for the Deltarune streams coming up. I hope that you all enjoyed that, at least some amount, and you all have a good night. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye. Oh, funny thing before we go. So, I checked my milk in my fridge recently. I noticed that the expiration date on it was June 4th. And then the thought creeped into my head that I never knew I would say ever in my life. I've never been more excited for my milk to expire.